Hello, welcome back to my channel. So glad you stopped by again today. I'd like to wrap up part 4 of the Introducing Me series. I know I've taken a break the last couple of weeks. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and are doing well so far in this year 2018. It may have seemed like the story was all but complete in my last video as far as being in India again, having moved to Colorado. But I want to share with you about that month from January 7th when I said, yes, I'll do this, until February 18 when I was on my way to India again. During that time, shortly after I had said yes on the 7th, it was brought to light that this commitment was for 5 to 8 years. And that was something that I had not understood before, that wasn't made totally clear. And so when that was clear to me and I realized what that meant, I panicked. It meant moving across the country, leaving everybody I'd ever known, not just for a year or two, but for the rest of my life. At least that's what it felt like at the time. And so I had announced this is what I'm doing, sent out these letters, and then realized, oh my goodness, I cannot do this. This is too much. And in that panic, I had let some of the fears that had been kind of growing in the back of my mind and in my heart just spring to the forefront, and they took over. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Definitely happened for me, and that was just a tough moment, time where I said yes and then I said no. At that time, Dee was had just had her surgery for her cancer. Very serious, much more serious than they had expected. And so when I turned around and told John no, he was already dealing with so much with his wife. He didn't have the wherewithal to be able to deal with that as well. So I ended up talking with our office manager here and going through some of this. And since the ticket had already been purchased and since some other things were already lined up for me in Colorado for a short time, I came out here February 10th and met with John and with our office manager, and we just talked through this fear, and they listened. And as we talked and as I was here, the Lord just confirmed to me that no, Sarah, this is where I've called you. I haven't worked in everybody's hearts and planned this out for no reason. This isn't something I've said, oh, go this way, just to say later, oh, don't go that way. And it was really clear at that point that fear is the reason that I'd made that call. Paul tells us that anything not done in faith is sin. And it was very clear that this was a decision made entirely out of fear. But as we talked through the reality of a 5 to 8 year commitment for me when I was that age, it was brought up that perhaps we could look at a 2-year commitment. And so as we discussed, I requested and said, hey, can we consider a 2-year commitment and then, reconsider again at that time about the future and where the Lord might be calling me. And they agreed. John said, yeah, let's do that. Let's do a 2-year commitment and we'll see, where the Lord might have you again in 2 years. And so I committed for 2 years, started raising my support. Actually, a funny note, I was working then on raising my personal monthly support, but I'd already, from January 7th, been raising the amount of money I needed for that trip to India in February. And I had said no just days before going to Colorado. And so when I was in Colorado, we had this time to talk and realized, no, this is where God is calling me. Our office manager had asked our booking agent to cancel my ticket. And in that meeting, right after I decided, she had gone out to see what the status of my ticket was, if we could get it back, and she came back in the room a few minutes later with 2 pieces of amazing news. Number one was that our agent had not yet canceled that ticket. He hadn't had the time. He'd been busy with a number of other things. So my ticket to India was still there. Secondly, every last dollar that I needed to go to India in a few days had come in. And so just another confirmation from the Lord that, Sarah, this is where you need to be. I've called you to serve in this capacity, to reach out to children. And over these last 4 years, it's just remarkable when God moves. It's overwhelming to see because the evidence is so clear that it was God and not me. And over these last 4 years, I've had the privilege to be a part of this sponsorship program that has grown over 400%. We've launched 3 sponsorship programs in the last 4 years. 2 of them were brought online in 2017. And I just want to encourage you, if there is something in your life that God is calling you to do and you're afraid, don't let fear stop you. God says, "For I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and of discipline and of a sound mind." Lay that fear down before the Lord. Surrender it. Call on someone who is a Christian, who loves the Lord and who loves you and who will walk with you through that fear to accomplish that goal. And if I can pray for you and be an encouragement to you, please comment below. I would love to be able to be an encouragement to you and to pray for you. I'm so thankful for the people God placed in my life these last 4 years to encourage me and to walk with me through the challenges and changes that I've been through. And I promise you that when God leads you to do something, He will be with you every step of the way. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. God bless.